This week on Sprague Homestead, we're turning junk mail into fire bricks.
So today we're going to do the infamous junk mail fire bricks. Now most times everybody hates getting junk mail in the mail, the postal mail, but now you might just ask for it. So anyway, what we're going to do today is we're going to shred paper, turn it into basically a mush, adding it to water. You're going to let that sit, and then we're going to form it into basically bricks that you can burn in your fireplace. So to start with, you're going to go ahead and get just some paper itself. A lot of times this is junk mail, and we're going to do two different ways of doing it. First is going to be through a shredder, just something like an office shredder. And if you're going to buy one of these, I would recommend getting something that handles about 10 pages at a time. That way these thick letters or envelopes you get, like credit card offers, you can just go ahead and shred these and they won't bind. Second method is going to be just tearing it up by hand. You're going to tear it into about a 1/2 inch or a 3/4 inch strip, as much as you can, and then we're going to put it in water. So let's go ahead and shred some paper up. So I've just got bank statement, don't need it. Some receipts, don't need them. Then I've just got some old office paper. Don't need it either. Put some more in there. Now, once you got your bin full itself, you can go ahead and put it in a bag so you can see. We've got a lot shredded already that can go out there. And what it's going to look like once it's shredded is just something simply like this. So it's just shredded up, and this is really thin stuff. Take that, throw it in the bag. So if you're going to do them by hand, a lot of times you get like seed catalogs or anything else, and once they're out of the season, don't need them anymore. The best thing I would do is say take the staples out of it there. The shredder itself would go through and actually break up those staples, but once you're soaking them and you dig to go get them kind of the mush out of the barrel or the trash can you're soaking it in, a lot of times you'll get those staples in your finger and it hurts. So don't do that. Just take your staples out as you need to. You can get a 50-cent staple remover or whatever else. Take those out, throw them away, and that way you only have paper to worry about. So with these, you're just going to cut these, or I guess shred these in down, roughly to about half. Just a small piece is what you're really looking for. The smaller the pieces themselves, once you kind of turn them into mush, they're going to be able to be more densely packed. Just think of it like you crumple paper up in a ball and have a bunch of balls in there. You're going to have a lot of extra space. But if you have smaller and smaller and smaller down to even like marbles or grains of sand, you can pack them more densely in there. And that's what you're looking for out of these paper bricks. Okay, so once you have your bag full of what you're going to put in to your can or your storage unit, you're just going to take it, basically fill it up with paper. Now, basically a full bag goes into almost a full can. Now you're going to take water, you're going to pour water in here, and you're going to get it up roughly 3/4 to all the way full, just to cover your paper. Then you're going to leave the paper in the water for roughly 48 to 72 hours, basically 2 to 3 days. Anything longer, the paper starts to get almost kind of like sticky and mushy, and it's hard to deal with. So you want it to clump, but you don't want it to become like glue. Alright, so what you'll find is once you start adding water into the bucket, you know, the paper was kind of up to here. As you start adding it in, the paper is going to shrink all the way down. So you just fill it with water until it literally covers all the paper, and you can start pushing down with your hand, getting it to compact. Once it's flush with water across the top, now it's just time to wait. So throw a lid on the can and come back in 48 to 72 hours. Alright, so once you have everything mushed up and you've let it sit for a couple days, what you're going to find is you're going to have wet paper, but it's still able to come apart easily. It's not glued together. So you're going to take your fire brick maker off, take obviously your top level out, where your cavities are, and you're just going to start packing it in. So you can just take fistfuls and doing it there. Now I'm actually wearing a glove, just a rubber glove or a nitrile glove. And what you'll find is some of the sometimes the paper itself, because it's soaked in that, the dyes are released and you'll end up dyeing your hand like a funky tie-dye. So I learned that the hard way once, and since then I just wear a glove to do it. So you're just going to pack this all the way in, and you're going to get it to roughly about a ½ inch from the top level here. Now you can make a fist and just kind of start pushing down. You're going to squeeze the water out. It just makes it a little easier as you go to kind of get a reference of how big your block is going to be. So you just push it down. Now once your bricks are formed in there, you can take your top piece, put it on. You'll notice your handles, one is going to fit where the other one won't, just like that. Now I'd say start by pressing down easily this way and just use your body weight with your arms locked, your elbows locked. And once you get it close, just stand on it with your body weight. And you can stand there for a good 30 seconds or so and just let the water kind of drain out. And while you're doing this, just remember, you are going to heat your home on junk mail this winter. So once all the water is drained off, take your top piece off, and then you can start taking these out. Now you notice I've already got some made, and I'm just using a transport cage. And the reason is I get the maximum airflow this way. If you put it across like a board, obviously the bottom is going to be, I guess, not in the elements, or not able to get air to it. So you're going to have to continually rotate them to make sure it dries all the way through the core. And it's going to take several days probably to do this, even if you have to rotate it. So just set them out somewhere, make sure it's not going to rain, obviously, and then just leave them for a few days, and you can check them periodically. Once you get them done, you'll notice they're going to be a tight brick, and they're going to start to lose weight. Basically, the water weight is going to evaporate off. So when you get them, they're going to be kind of light and just really a paper brick. So now if you find you're having difficulty getting them out, you can just stand on the handles, pull them out this way, just wiggle and pull them out. Then you can turn them on their side, basically pull the ears open and set it aside. Now they are a pretty stable brick at this point, so if you need to pick them up and move them, you can. There's one note, the bricks themselves, when we lived in Mississippi, took somewhere between 3 and 6 months, even more depending on your climate. So just keep them periodically, keep them, maybe put a rack in your garage or shed or anything else, and just let them just evaporate the water off for as long as it takes, honestly. We had them in Mississippi at 3 months, still had you could just feel a little bit of moisture to them. It was just so humid, it never really evaporated off, even in the heat. So that is how you turn junk mail into fire bricks. All right, so one last thing to mention on the fire bricks. 3 of the bricks themselves will equate to roughly 1 piece of wood for 45 minutes of burn, roughly, is what I've got out of them. The good thing is you're going to use up your junk mail and magazines and old newspapers or whatever else and turn it into something you could probably use during the winter. The bad thing is you're burning so much paper, you're going to get a lot of ash. So just be ready for that. Wood typically doesn't ash as bad, and with this is just going to turn to complete ash once it's burned. So we usually burn a mixture of these plus wood rather than just straight fire bricks and that. But you can do it that way if you want to do it that way. Just best advice of what we use. So there you have it. And that's it for this week on Sprague Homestead. What was that? What about the baby goat mafia? Well, of course the baby goat mafia has grown in the last week. We couldn't do another video without baby goats. So what's happened? Well, you're going to have to tune into next time to find out.